Welcome to our channel. My name is Moredi Jonathan, and we'll be taking you through various subjects including chemistry, physics and mathematics. And for today's introduction, we start with chemistry. And from chemistry, chemistry is not really something very new, but it is a branch of science which originates from the original subject, which is science. And at the secondary school level, that is Form 1, this science is broken down into 3 subjects. Now we have the 3 subjects, which is physics, we also have biology, and now our focus for today will be the subject chemistry. Now we begin with the definition of chemistry, and chemistry is defined as the study of the properties of matter and the changes that matter undergoes. The study of properties of matter and the changes that matter undergoes. Now, what is this thing that we are calling matter? First of all, you realize that the entire universe is made up of matter. The entire universe is made up of matter. Matter is, of course, all over. Now, when you talk about matter, matter is defined as anything that occupies space and has a mass. Anything that occupies space and has a mass. Now, when we come to matter, there are 3 states of matter. There are 3 states of every matter is in 3 categories. Now, we have solids, we have liquids, and we also have the gas. We have solids, liquids, and gas. Now, what are solids as we are talking about in terms of matter? Solids, these are substances with properties like having a definite shape. So, like for example, this chalk is a solid. It has a definite shape. The shape is definite. Like for this chalk, it is cylindrical. You cannot change this cylindrical shape of the chalk to any other shape or any other kind of shape. So the shape is cylindrical, and also the mass is definite. The definition of the word definite means that it is not easy to change. Something definite is something which is not easy to change. So solids, definite shape, definite mass. When we go to liquids, liquids are the second kind of matter that we have. Liquids, these are substances like water, very common. Water is a very common liquid that we have. And when you look at liquids, what you realize is that liquids, they have a definite mass, but the shape is not definite. Definite mass, indefinite shape. Remember, definite, we said, is something which cannot be changed easily. Now, look at an example like when you have some water. If you pour water in a glass which is maybe round in shape, then this water will assume the shape of that glass, that is the round shape. And if you can acquire maybe a glass which is squared, then of course the same water will take the shape of the squared glass. And that is all about the liquids. Definite mass but indefinite volume. Finally, the third type of matter is the gases. The gases include the air that is all around us. The air that is around us is an example of a gas. Now, when you talk about gases, the properties of gases are as follows. The gases do not have a definite shape. Do not have a definite shape. And you can try to imagine if you have a balloon of this shape. Maybe a balloon which is shaped like that. When you blow air into the balloon, then that means that the air will assume the shape of the balloon. Will assume the shape of the balloon. And that's why we are saying gases do not have a definite shape. They do not have a definite shape. And of course, if you try to press the balloon again, then the volume will decrease. If you press it, If you press the balloon, of course the volume will increase up to maybe a certain level, and that is all about the volume also. So gases still do not have definite kind of volume. So that is all about the three states of matter. And then now we go back now again to the definition of chemistry. Remember, we defined chemistry as the study of properties of matter and the changes that these forms of matter undergo. Now, we are going to perform a simple experiment here, which will show us, or which will help us to know what causes these changes between the various states of matter. And we shall be using a very simple kind of a resource, which is of course very common. I think most of us from our homes we have used a candle one time or the other, and maybe that is if you don't have electricity. And even those who have electricity, maybe through Kenya Power you have been able to encounter a candle when there is of course power outrage. Like we know, Kenya Power usually disappoints. So we are going to perform an experiment and see what happens when we change the physical environment around the candle. We see whether it will change maybe from, of course it is in solid state. We see maybe when we change the environment, maybe what is going to happen to the same. So we are going to see what is going to happen to these candle wax when we change the physical environment around the candle wax by increasing the temperature using a source of heat. So the first piece of the candle will act as the source of heat, which will help to increase the temperature around this candle wax. So you place it on the candle. So what you realize, I think it is visible that the candle is changing in its form. The candle wax is changing in form. It's changing in form, forming something new, and that is representing the change in form due to the physical change, the change in the physical environment around the wax. So what happens is that when you heat the candle wax, it will turn from a solid into a liquid, and the process of turning from solid to liquid is known as melting. If we were to heat the liquid candle wax further, then it will turn from liquid into gas, and this process is known as evaporation. The reverse can also occur in the two conditions, whereby when you have a gas and then it turns into a liquid, this is known as condensation. Then when you have a liquid and then it turns into a solid, this is really known as freezing. In some instances, a substance might change directly from a solid to a gas, or some other times from a gas straight to a solid. And the process is really known as sublimation. Sometimes in some instances, when a substance turns into gas into a solid, it is known as desublimation or deposition. Just a brief introduction of really what chemistry entails, and as we go forward with these tutorials, we are going to see how the particles are behaving at a very small level. We divide all these states of matter into small particles. We see what they are made up of, and maybe some of the mechanisms through which they react.